I was standing in my kitchen when the bank notification hit my phone. $25,000. My entire credit line wiped clean the night before my birthday. For a moment, the world stopped. Not because of the money can be replaced, but because of the timing. Because I knew exactly whose fingerprints would be all over it. I drove to my parents' house with a stillness that scared even me. Dad opened the door like he'd been waiting to justify something. Mom stood behind him, arms crossed, lips already curled. "You're early," Dad snapped, like I owed him an apology. I held up my phone. $25,000. Gone. Who took it? Mom laughed. Actually laughed. "The family needed it more," she said. "You can celebrate alone. We had better plans." Their entitlement washed over me like cold water. But I didn't yell, didn't shake, didn't even blink. I just said, "Then don't ever call me again." And I walked out. Back then, I never imagined this ending. Because once I believed them. When I was a kid, I thought love meant sacrificing quietly. They raised me on guilt, on "you owe us," on the idea that my success belonged to them. My first job? They took half. My first apartment? Dad borrowed from me to pay off a friend. Mom guilt-tripped me into covering her loans after she accidentally ruined her credit. But there were good days too, enough to confuse loyalty with love, enough to blind me to the fact that they weren't parents, they were opportunists with my last name. I told myself they'd change, that one day my birthday wouldn't be treated like a tax season. I was wrong. The signs came days before the collapse. Dad grew unusually sweet. Mom started asking about my financial plans. Their calls increased, but their tone stayed empty, transactional. Then the credit card company flagged suspicious activity. Uber rides, jewelry transactions, a hotel, all in the city, all in their neighborhood. I didn't panic. I watched. I waited. And in that quiet waiting, something inside me clicked. Not anger, resolve. If they wanted to treat me like a bank, they were about to discover what happened when a bank closes. I spent the next 48 hours planning. Precisely. Patiently. First step, access. Years ago, Mom begged me to co-sign her personal loan for emergencies. Dad pressured me into adding him to my online account in case anything happened. They forgot those doors swing both ways. The mortgage? Under my name, used temporarily until they could refinance. The truck? Dad's pride and joy. Insured, registered, and purchased under my credit because his was shot. Mom's loan? Still tracing back to my signature. They didn't just steal from me, they built their whole life on my back, and I was about to pull every pillar out. That night, I moved like a ghost. I logged in, calm, focused. Mortgage, canceled. Technically, I withdrew as the guarantor. Their rate would spike. Payments would triple. Foreclosure clock ticking. Truck, reclaimed. It was legally mine. I froze the registration and scheduled repossession. Dad would wake up to an empty driveway. Mom's loan, default triggered. Not mine, hers. My signature reinstated. Her responsibility reinstated. Collections would come for her next. Every click felt like a stitch being cut. Not out of revenge, out of freedom. They had always taken silently. Tonight, I took back in the same language. The confrontation happened the next morning. Dad called first, voice frantic, broken. "What did you do?" I let him shout, breathing steadily on my end of the line. Mom grabbed the phone. I could hear her shaking. Fix it right now! We're your parents!" "No," I said. Just that. Silence. A silence years overdue. "You used me," I continued. "You took from me because you thought I wouldn't fight back." Mom hissed. "We needed it." "And I needed a family," I replied, "but you weren't that." Dad's voice cracked. "We'll lose everything." You already lost me, I said. The rest is just paperwork. I hung up before they could respond. The resolution felt quieter than I expected. I didn't celebrate, just sat in my apartment as the sun came up, feeling something I hadn't felt in years: weightless. People think revenge is loud, chaotic, explosive. But real revenge? Real revenge is silence revealing the truth. They taught me to give until it hurt. I finally learned to take back until it healed. And as the sky brightened, one thought settled in. Not all family is blood, but sometimes cutting blood is the only way to stop the bleeding.